Short, that's my hint. Kind of a short, quick definition. Short and sweet. He's like, I'll define them real quick, one by one.
Whatever is not ultimate.
Oh, very good. That's true.
That's very true.
I don't know if it is true.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true.
It's the things that you see with nominal valid perception.
Yeah.
Oh, Tanya.
Yep. Hey, do you want to try to say exactly how he said it in Tibetan? Bonus points. You're very close already.
No, I think I can handle it. Yepe, Semal. And I'm probably in trouble.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Tibetan. Tanye pe tseme shalja.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
considered.
Keep that in mind. How does Gyaltsab define ultimate reality? Call it very close. Yeah, yeah. But let's do the English first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything that's considered with an ultimate state of mind?
Yeah, I mean, you're onto something there, but it's a little bit more in depth.
Okay.
There's many parts to the state of mind. Remember?
Vaguely.
That there was a definition.
I remember we talked about
I remember we were sitting here.
it. Just like this.
I tried to make these easy enough, but there wasn't.
No, this is the right question.
Yeah, I
This is
thought it
not
was-
on you.
Anything under the consideration of the wisdom of insight in deep meditation that sees the truth of its own nature.
Whoa.
I was just about to say that.
There was something interesting about it, so I thought you might remember. Especially what we. So this might help you remember some of the elements of the Tibetan.
Oh, yeah, because this is its own nature is the tricky part.
Yeah, Ram.
Wrong Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I'm pointing you to was.
Geshe said was insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Well, insight sees the truth of its own nature.
So you smuggled the other meaning of wrong back in there.
I did. I'm trying to help you guys out.
Brought out.
Nick, under the consideration in English means.
That's the shell.
It just means perception.
What you looking at?
Anything under the consideration, I guess. I mean, this is the rough translation left over from last class, you know, but I like it. We'll see.
By wisdom.
Wisdom of insight, because it's got a yeshe in there, right? Maybe not. Yes, there's a yeshe in there.
What's the so-so doing here?
This, I think, it has to, anything under the consideration of the wisdom of insight.
No, shot. The so-so doing shot.
So wrong, right? I think it has to do with like each.
Yeah, it does not involve perceiving yourself.
Yeah.
It just means insight. I would read Rangrik here as insight, and I don't want you guys thinking it's apperception. It's not the quality of the mind to perceive the mind. Gyaltsab J seems to favor it as a deep perception into the mind. Or something like that.
So the so-so, is it so-so together with Rangrik?
He might be saying Demba Shiki number Chuduk Soso or something. I mean, that's the traditional way.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but that would be very
That would be against his.
This one on the
Yeah,
side.
I know. I would say analysis. Okay. I would say so.
Okay.
Analysis. Yeah.
I'll play with that when it comes time.
It's an insight, analytical insight. Something like that. But it's a direct perception of emptiness though, for him. He just uses that term himself. He uses it,
Yeah. Maybe it'll make more sense soon.
Yeah.
Mushi Musum, correct and incorrect perceptions. So correct and incorrect distributes the perceptions and objects.
Yeah, you want 3 or 4.
So you want examples?
So yeah, I mean, let's just see a rope is a rope. There's a
Slow down.
He gave you the first one for free.
I think so. I'm not sure about this. I thought maybe we could look at it together. I think I got these right.
See a snake as a rope.
Incorrect perception. Yeah, the opposite, right? See a rope as a snake. Yeah.
But that wouldn't be incorrect perception, correct?
Yeah.
Oh,
It would be
Right?
perception of a correct object.
It would be an incorrect perception of a correct object. It's really a rope, but you see a snake. Like the object.
okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, no. Yeah, help me out with this. I don't know.
See, what do you mean by correct object?
I don't know. Let's see if it makes more sense when I
The
get to
object
the
you think, not the object you think it is, that you identify.
Illusional or something? Or?
Oh,
correct object, like it's a rope. I mean, as opposed to something that's not a rope.
okay.
It's validly a rope.
And we could say it's a rope because we're calling it a rope right now.
Correct perception.
Let's see if it makes sense. Yeah, this is weirder.
See a snake as a
Something else.
This is what I thought of.
snake with
See a self-existent rope as a snake.
Ah.
That's an incorrect object.
Yeah,
And
it's
Well, it's a snake.
I mean, it seems to be the way he's going with his discussion here.
Yeah. That was
So I'm trying to understand the way Geltich is going with it.
I think you're right.
I think okay.
All right. And then correct perception, incorrect object.
What is it? You think it's a snake, even though it's a rope, but you think that the snake is coming from you?
I think I was thinking along those lines, and then I realized something more simple. You see, a self-existent rope is
Yeah,
a rope.
exactly. You see X
Oh wait.
as self-existent.
See a rope as a
Sorry,
self.
no, I meant.
It's a snake. I know.
I must have hissed at people in the past.
No, you see a.
Hold on, I think I wrote that wrong.
Not
Yeah, not self-existent rope.
And
Whoops.
it's a rope.
Hey. All right, I had to use the STW slide one more time because it's so funny.
Yeah, you're about to contract an STD.
STW. Because it's Stanley calls them sexy Tibetan words, so we had to get real sexy with it.
Unmarred?
What?
Unmarred?
Yeah, but what were we talking about? here?
Opposite.
Yeah, good.
Unimpaired.
Adversely
No,
affected.
opposite,
The opposite
opposite.
of what you said, yeah.
Impaired.
Impaired. Yeah,
Drunk, jealous,
Okay.
yeah.
high,
Rather marred.
Niche.
tripping.
There are, I know, well, it was just the best picture I could find.
Counted as exactly that amount.
Oh, it's supposed to be more red.
Nice.
Yes! Oh my god. Good job. Group.
Ki gubne nimashar for $20. Nimashar.
The sun shines on a
Dog's ass.
ass.
Yeah.
The sun came up from a dog's eye.
Okay.
It's the Tibetan way to say something impossible just happened.
Group
Anyway, I can see you're not impressed. If someone gives such a correct answer without any work at all, it's kind of weird.
I mean, I thought you'd get it.
It's crazy.
You're supposed to mistake it for
Changye, like interpretation.
Right.
exact same pronunciation,
Yeah.
different spelling.
Tenla Papa.
Catch the past tenseness, please. It's not tenlam bapa.
Oh, it's without an agent?
There you go. The sun went back in. The sun went back in. I hope he doesn't get burned.
Anybody?
Tun,
10.
no, dun, not tun, dun.
10.
Oh, sorry, I can't see.
Oh, did I miss something?
No, you're perfect.
Oh, then maybe I have to-
You better tell him before the end of the
I
class.
think it's explained.
No. Well, you can say that, but it's more like give an outline of or establish. It literally means to establish. It can mean to give a presentation of. How's that? Okay.
Hey, you take the plane, boss.
Okay, I'll take the plane. So my friend Heather's here, and I wanted to impress you with. I want to introduce you to people in this room. And I want you guys to know Heather, and I want you to consider Heather part of your family. Because it's one more project that we're doing, okay, to help people. So she's running a cafe that has, for 35 years, has served the elderly and the mentally unstable. They serve free breakfast to the mentally unstable. And they support all the local animal rescue places. And they especially serve the elderly and handicapped people in our town. So it's kind of a new project, and she's going to work on it. But I want you to know the other projects going on in this room, because you'll never have time to come here again. Tim is running the religious organization, which has existed for 23, 4 years, and helps thousands and thousands of people all over the world. They mainly runs the meditation retreats 4 times a year, which happen twice a year in southeast Arizona, once a year in Southeast Asia, like Bali or Thailand, and then once a year in Guadalajara, Mexico. Ben Galmi is from Morocco originally, but his family, he grew up in Paris. He's worked for some of the largest banks in the world, Deutsche Bank, and what's the French one? Crédit Lyonnais. And he's a famous economist, and sometimes CNN asks him for help. And he's translating these English books that we translate into English. He's translating them into French and Arabic, helping with the Arabic. Gina Rivera is a graphic designer from Guadalajara, Mexico. She lays out all our books for many years now. And she's now working for the Green Stretch Pen organization. Ben Kramer is a highly talented translator, one of the best in the world doing difficult things. And he owns a yoga studio in Albuquerque, runs it. Beth Greer worked for Microsoft Corporation, and we stole her. She's now the editor of all the series. It's projected to be 108 books, and she's editing all this. You know this lady. Jigme's been my personal assistant for 25 years. Bernard Chinzom teaches dance therapy recently with New York University, can I say? And all over the world. And they're both Buddhist nuns. Wordsmith's expert in the Mind-Only School, which is an exotic and very popular Buddhist school. He's a scholar of Chinese, Tibetan, and Sanskrit, and he just got back from China. They just got back from China teaching there. Ina is from Ukraine originally, living in Lyon, France, working in Paris. She's a medical doctor. She works for medical research companies. She's a high fat cat at one of these companies, and her team is translating our books into Russian. And almost finished, I think, with the first book, 500 pages. Finished, not edited. Adam Andrade is from Colorado, and he's working on the most famous book of Buddhist logic ever written, about 300 years ago. And so he's a great translator and helping with it. His wife is Katie, who runs our publishing worldwide. Anatole Nguyen lives in Guadalajara with his wife Aisha, and he runs Green Stretch Pen, which is an initiative that was approved by the Congress of Mexico for teaching 23 million children good eating habits, daily exercise, and doing good things for other people. And that project is really exciting, and it looks like they're teaching the teachers in 15,000 elementary schools. And his wife also, for fun, she helps run our Sanskrit preservation. The original books were written in Sanskrit over 1,000 years ago. She helps find them around the world. Gibson Chen helps run the organization in Taiwan, and number 2 man there, I think. Number 1 is a woman. And they are probably the most successful organization we have in the world. Their fundraising capacity is legendary. They raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for these organizations, and they're shooting for the world record of an event in June for 6,000 people. Vimala Sperber helps run the Kathmandu Sanskrit Preservation, what do you call it, center, in which finds rare books. Buddhism was wiped out by invaders 1,200 years ago. All those books are missing. She helps find them. Her partner Jeff Wallman, for many years, ran the world's largest organization for preserving ancient Asian literature in scans, and they supply us with scans, and then we have input centers around the world that type them in for 32 years. And so we recently stole him, and he's doing great work for us. So Gangshi is from Indonesia and Singapore, and he runs, he's one of the people who runs the Singapore operation. He's a great translator. He runs various businesses for us. And he and his wife have a large group of students in Indonesia, which is the largest Muslim country in the world, the biggest Muslim population in the world. But they are crazy about DCI there, and the local Chinese people also. Stanley Chen and his partner Alison Zhou come from Shenzhen, China, which is one of the up and rising cities, 20 million people in South China. And they specialize in a special program to help high executives who own large businesses like skyscrapers to learn their own culture and represent it around the world. And that's partly in conjunction. I mean, we worked on the idea with the new World Bank of China. So that was a big deal. And they're doing a great job with that. They're also translating, each one is translating an ancient book. So Gang is translating an ancient book on, how do you call it? How you get into suffering. Stanley's translating an ancient book from 2,000 years ago, which is probably the mother book of ancient Buddhism. She's translating the book on ethics. Then Adriana Karabatsios has helped in Greece with our DCI efforts there. Her family's from Greece originally, and she works with Adam's wife, has worked with Adam's wife, and now she has come to Flagstaff, and we stole her for you. And she helps a lot to organize the spiritual retreats, the meditation retreats. And Dennis Moore has been with us for a long time, helping at Diamond Mountain Retreat Center with all kinds of stuff, because he's a good landscaper and designer of beautiful spaces. And now he's working in Flagstaff, right? And he just finished a 3-month retreat. Yeah, and the big thing is he didn't go crazy. He didn't require any mental assistance. Jenny Wong runs the Singapore operation, which has been instrumental in creating companies in Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, and China. Huge fundraising for all of our charities, and extraordinary organizer. Huge audiences of thousands of 2,000 people, say, in many countries, and she's helped us start all of those organizations. And the one in Vietnam that she helped start is now had 8,000 students this year. And they just built 400 houses for poor people, and they're awesome. And she started that group. Vivian Wang is the person who invited me to China the first time. She's from Guangzhou, which is the largest city in the world, 30 million people. And she's created those 2 kids, and along with other kids. And probably one of the most successful organizations we have in the world. Christina Kasika helps run the Asian Classics Input Project for it's a 32-year effort to save the ancient books of Asia. And recently she got $1 million grant to save 300,000 books in Mongolia, ancient books. Which is political, breakthrough, because the Mongolian government is quite difficult, and she pulled it off. And she pulled off the funding without me, which is God bless you. I kiss your feet. And Nick is in charge of the translation program. here, and he's the father of mooncake. This is the Autumn Harvest Moon Festival of China 2 days ago, called the Mooncake Festival. So we were hoping the kid would be born. His child is being born this week, probably. But he runs the Input Project, which is 32 years old, to save the ancient books. And it has many employees around the world inputting ancient books. And he helps run that. He runs the database, and he runs all the translators. And John Foley, already introduced, owns a large training company. We do small events. What we make in a week, he makes every night. And he teaches like Coca-Cola and IBM and thousands of people. Yeah. And then, I don't know, he fell on his head one time and decided to help us. And he just wrote a best-selling book, which I just saw in the airport, and about how he learned in the Blue Angels about perfection, striving for perfection. So normally, two airliners have to be a mile apart legally. And in the military, you fly within 50 feet.
18 inches?
No, regular military, not closer than
10 feet when you come
10
over
feet.
the field, but otherwise keep it almost.
And they do their things at 18 inches.
Oh my God.
Okay? If they touch, they both die.
What's the name of your book?
Fearless Success.
Yeah.
Beyond High Performance. That's the title.
Anyway, it's an impressive group, and now you are part of it. Okay. And I think it's cool to have a cafe where you could do a seichu. And it's not open in the evening, so we were thinking that if you guys wanted to have special dinners, or, it's your anniversary or something special, birthday, then talk to her. I'm thinking like we could do seichus there and stuff like that. We could wreck the place and nobody cares. Not just kidding. Okay, but she's up for that. That's what she wants. She wants to serve us and help us to have our own little special place where we can do cool eating events, which is my main interest. Okay, all right. Huh? Talk to her. She's talking about a second branch, but I think we got to open the first one first. Okay. But she's talking about it. Okay. All right. But it's only a 20-minute drive. Come on. And it's a beautiful place. It's a really beautiful place.
And it's a beautiful drive.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful drive. So anyway, if you have an idea for an event, talk to her. It won't be open until next term. Okay. But in the meantime. Okay, here we go. Nick.
I think you gotta take the plane, boss.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry to take your time to do my advertisement.
Your time.
Lounge.
I'm really
Okay, here we go. Go, read.
Contact ta kunso do yume zumpa de pani no konar ya ba kunso do yu be tundu samme shin no konar kelen gu be kunso tang ranglubla kelen be kunso ki kepa machiba be.
Okay, now his text is the most difficult one, by far. It was written 2,000 years. You want to introduce your text?
It's a commentary on a book called 60 Verses on Reasoning by a very famous Buddhist master named Nagarjuna. And he's known as the founder of the middle way. So if you come to a few of these, you'll get to know some of these terms. But he's a really, really deep thinker and a tricky philosopher, and kind of shows people their own wrong way of looking at the world. And he wrote a book that's trying to show there's various philosophical schools within Buddhism, and he wrote this 60 verses specifically to show the lower schools of Buddhism that they, using their own scriptures, that they already accept the beliefs held by the higher schools. Does that make sense? And then the book that we're translating is a commentary on those 60 verses by another great master from much more recently, from in the 1300s, named Gyaltsen. And he is also tricky in different ways. And the book's very difficult. The subject matter is difficult, and he's just kind of a tricky writer. So we're just looking at a lot of different philosophical proofs, trying to prove the emptiness, the deepest version of emptiness.
When
Cool.
you say tricky, what do you mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
As a writer, why
yeah,
is it tricky?
so when I said tricky about Nagarjuna, I mean he's funny because he uses little tricks of how you already think about the world to show you that you're thinking about it wrong. And then Gyaltsab, he's just really tricky as a writer because he jumps topics very quickly and unexpectedly.
He doesn't explain stuff. He
Yeah.
makes profound jokes and he doesn't explain them. And he thinks you're supposed to understand them. And we're like,
Yeah.
date them.
He leaves us hanging. Nagarjuna was around 200 AD.
18 centuries ago. One of the oldest Buddhist writers. And
And Gyaltsab is in the 1300s, 1400s.
okay. So the additional difficulty of this translation team is that we're translating books that are thousands of years old. I like to quote Chaucer, which I only know one part, which I do all the time. One data Aprilia with his shorter sota, the doctor of March at Pierce et Rota and Bad and Everything in Swish la Corora, which we are doing, Gender is the floor. That's English. And you don't understand a single word. And languages evolve. So to translate something that's 2,000 years old, Chaucer's only 500 years old? 600 years old. But this stuff is 4 or 5 times older. And so it's really, really, these guys are special. They don't know. Okay, here we go. By the way, we had a section here where he was talking about the 4 ways of misperceiving stuff as clean, pure, clean, happy, lasting, and having a self. And then he talked about the 4 aspects of the truth of suffering, and it bothered me that we equated them. And I wanted to point out that they don't exactly equate, and I think it's 2 different lists. They happen to have come close to each other, but I don't think you should try to consider the first 4 aspects of the 16 aspects to be the famous 4 wrong ways of looking at things, ass-backwards views. 180 degree, what do you call it? What do you call it in directional theory, Commander Foley? No, completely diametrically opposed. Yeah, it's not that, okay? Because it's not quite that, okay?
I didn't have a chance to check what came before in the other footnote.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
It's not right.
usually the diametric opposite is presented as Tsang and Mitsang, Dewa, Dungyal, Tapa, Mitapa, Dakitonwa. And this is not that.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure you didn't try to draw a parallelism. Okay. Kanda, we read this, right?
Yeah, I just read.
Kanda Deda Kunzo to Yume Tsumba Dupani. So some people say that if something is lying to you, if something in your reality is lying to you, it doesn't matter if it exists or not.
Some people say.
Yeah, some people say that. It doesn't really matter, you know. If you think you see purple elephants, you know, if you have such a delusion, if you're already talking delusion, then it doesn't matter what the thing is there or not. You're already deluded. They want to equate it, okay? And he says, look, I'm not talking about normal delusion. I'm not talking about the world lying to you. There's 2 ways the world can lie to you. Number 1, you are sick. You have a serious, you know, they call jaundice, right? What do they call it in English?
Jaundice?
There's another word.
Yellow fever?
You see everything as yellow. I had it in India. Hepatitis B or something. Anyway, the point is, there's a kind of delusion like a person has jaundice, so they see white things as yellow because the white fluid has spread through their eyeball, okay? Or they're under extreme jealousy, and they see things with their partner that are not there, okay? Or what's the one with movement?
When you're on a train.
Forward.
Yeah, like you're at a stoplight and the person next to you backs up, and you slam on the brakes because you think you're sliding into the intersection. So those are called deceptive situations. In the ancient scriptures, it looks like the trees on the shore are moving as you row past. And these are all perceptual errors, okay? Errors of perception. What's the most classic one? A rope in the twilight is misunderstood to be a rattlesnake. Okay, so those are wrong relative to another person's perception. Okay, the person who put the rope here this afternoon and is not fooled by it, or the person who doesn't have jaundice, or the person who's in a car across the intersection who can see that two people are backing up and you're not going forward. You see what I mean? So in a way, those deceptions are defined by the correct perceptions of other people. Other people. You see what I mean? They're relatively correct, okay? And he says, this is not, Rang lukla kelembe kunzoki kepa machete. You have failed to distinguish, chepa, these other kinds of deception from the deception that we are talking about. We're talking about every human being and every bug and every bird and every dog is wrong about what they see because they feel that it is coming from this way. And that, they can't get it as a gut feeling, visceral feeling that it's coming from what they did last week to people. And they might occasionally say, oh, I think that's my karma. You know, I yelled at my mom for 10 years, and so my daughter's yelling at me. That's just one event out of thousands. We're talking about the inherent feeling, the gut feeling that people have that what's happening to me is not coming from 100% from what I did last week or what I've done to other people. So, got it? So we're talking about a mass delusion, and we're not talking about a situational delusion. That's the meaning of this sentence. We're talking about a mass delusion. We're talking about a delusion which is as big as humankind and all living kind. Amoebas have it. Okay, got it? So Shen Ngo Konar Kilin Gupe Kunzop, which is deceptive relative only to other people. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a mass delusion of the whole planet. Okay? And due to that, people compete. Instead of helping each other, they try to outdo each other because they think that's how to get ahead. You know? Okay, got it? We're not talking about you are only mistaken. Don't think that I'm only talking about deceptive with reference to a temporarily deceived mind, you know, where you're very jealous or you just had a drink of alcohol or you just took a drug. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a mass delusion, okay? Got it? Mm-hmm. So if you say to exist is the same as not to exist, and that's the meaning of fake reality, that's not what would mean. Okay, we mean fake means it looks like it's not coming from you, but it's coming from you. It doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean it's not real. Okay, if a car hits you and breaks your leg, it's fake reality in Buddhism because you think it was caused by the other driver. Okay, and you don't realize you caused it. Got it? Okay, so don't think when I say fake, don't think I'm saying it's not real. Your leg is broken. You do have to go to the hospital. The proof is you have to pay the bill. And but it's fake in the sense that it's not what it appears to be. It's not the fault of the other driver. Okay, that's all. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, Shepa indicates a direct quotation. He didn't say, you know, he talks like that. Shepa is a quotation mark. However, you know, I spend like an hour, which is what I do at home, Heather, when you're working. I'm trying to find these goddamn quotations, and they're not there, okay, in a million pages. And with a database that we've created and with the search tools, it's not there. So what was the strategy we suggested this morning?
You put the works of that author together, and the works specifically that Gyaltsen Jin has quoted so
Yeah.
far.
Take all the books that we have that this guy ever wrote, how long ago?
600 years?
No.
Chandakirti.
1,700 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Call it 1,400, 1,500, 1,400 years ago. Take all the books he ever wrote, put them in one search field, and then search for that kind of conversation. Because whatever this quotation is, it's not a quotation.
It's not a
Okay.
quotation.
And he's cheating us. Okay. And by the way, when you get more experience as a translator, you will be able to smell a quotation that's not a quotation.
Mhm.
Because, for example, he uses song song, which is in Tibetan idiom.
Right, yeah, there's no
You
chance.
go and go. Yeah, it's not like it's something in Sanskrit. This is like, you do you kick your butt, and you already know it's not a direct quotation because the ancient authors would have used kick your honorable kick your honorable butt or something. They would say something weird. So what I'm saying is, when he claims it's a direct quotation, but you see a Tibetan idiom in it, be suspicious. And then to go find it is going to be almost impossible. This is the most difficult textual research you can do, to try to find the original quotation which has been put into colloquial Tibetan. No matter what you do, you don't want to find out what's going on. And then go try to find that in a text, Sanskrit text, okay? But one of the tools will go take all the author's books. Now that itself is going to take too long. You see, you gotta decide how many hours you're going to spend on one sentence. And I have spent days on one sentence, but you gotta think how many years I have left in my life, how many weeks do I have left, before I have to go on tour. How much time do I have? Will Mr. Wu be satisfied with 2 pages for his $500,000? So sometimes there's a practical decisions you have to make. Like, I gotta go on, But you learn as quickly as possible to exhaust all the possibilities. Okay, got it? So in this case, I put all the books he ever wrote, but because I didn't want to go looking through all the books he ever wrote, I went and got all the books he ever wrote that
That Gyaltsen Jin has
were
quoted.
already mentioned in this particular book. So that's a high likelihood that it's going to be in there. So start there. If you have to, you can add all the other books he wrote later, like the commentary to the Wheel of Life, right? But since that hasn't been mentioned in his book yet, let's leave it out for now. And then I did create such a search field, and I found it. Okay, so here we go. Deta Yim Bayang. The fact that this is the case is reflected in what Master Chandakirti said when he said, you can go deeper, you can go on and on into a thing, you can go on and on into a question, song song, which is a Tibetan idiom, and all you're going to be left with at the end, lu pa, not lu, okay? Lu pa, all you're going to be left with at the end is gyuma, an illusion, okay? A gyuma, magic trick, okay? Pulling a rabbit out of a hat, okay? That's, dig into an object and you won't find anything real. What's it mean? Okay, let's say something happened. What is that? I keep going back to the health inspector. Okay, so suppose the health inspector's not happy, which he's okay. He is kind of happy, and you feel like, well, what's this guy's problem? Like you go home, you can't sleep. You're wondering why this guy is being mean to me, why he's being so strict, which he's not been. Okay, but let's say tapatasum girukpa.
For the sake of argument.
In the theoretical possibility, let's say there was a health inspector who's really mean to you, but if you dig into it, what do you find?
So
You were unkind to your employee last week, okay? And it's an illusion that he's being mean to you. Got it? Who said that?
Master Chandra.
Yeah, Chandakirti. Dig deeper, and all you will ever find left is an illusion. It looks like the health inspector's picking on you, but what's the reality? You yelled at your employee last week. Okay, got it? Yeah, but the health inspector's accusations were much more serious than the little yelling I gave my employee. What's the answer to that?
Second law of karma.
Karma expands 100% every 24 hours. Okay, so a small sarcasm to an employee could result in a health inspector closing down your place. Okay, then that gets scary. That means we have to be nice to everybody all the time, which is almost, yeah, that's unreasonable. Okay, then I went and found it, a similar discussion, which I assume is the one he's talking about.
Probably. He's been quoting this thing.
Yeah, and I didn't realize he wrote a commentary to this book,
Yeah.
and it's in there. Okay, why is this so long when he just had a single line?
Catch the page number.
Yeah, I was trying to catch a page number for the footnote. Okay, that means you should go to the beginning and only the beginning. Okay, so here it is. He's talking about gumas,
Right.
illusions. He's talking about mirages, and it looks as if it's coming from its own side. Blah blah blah. Okay, so you can just reference it here and say this is a paraphrase of a discussion that he's having. And by the way, it's in commentary to the same lines.
Uh-huh.
It's in his commentary to the same lines, which I should have thought to look at first.
Right, you're right.
Okay.
Now we know.
Yeah, now we know. Yeah,
We're
he's
still
still on the same lines. Chandakirti's on the same lines. So I should have looked there first, but I was tired and I looked in all his books. Okay. Is it here somewhere? Yeah. Non Dindam
Oh,
Bingoni.
cool.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that Tsongkhapa especially is just paraphrasing people a lot. His Gombar Upsal is a big paraphrase of Chandakirti's auto commentary.
Do you
Okay.
happen to know if the Sanskrit exists for this Chandrakirti?
Don't know. Ask our Sanskrit experts.
Aisha.
We have 3 of them in the room.
Yeah,
There are 3 of them.
Commentary to the 60 verses of reason.
That'd be very interesting to find. Here's the
I'll find the title.
here's the Sanskrit title. No, right here. I have it for you. I have it.
Chandrakirti's commentary.
Yeah, yeah. She worked really hard on the root text, and we finally ended up with this Chinese scholar's great text. Great. As many verses as exist, he found them. But now here's the Tibetanized the Sanskrit title right here. Okay, so this is what you guys are looking for. Yukti, Shashtika, Vrti.
Which is
Why they put a B instead of a V?
there's no B to that.
Tibetans don't have a V, so they use a B. Okay. Bhadra for Bhadra. Okay. Okay, got it? So you're looking for Yukti, Shashtika, Vrti. Got it? Shashtika means 60? Yeah, what is it? Yukti? Verses? Okay. And then Vrti means commentary. Okay. All right, keep going. Gashiktu. And
Kashik to try tam shik lu you know she sung pe da tam da ba dam ki kun to ni kam to yang ma ka ching kelang pe chiu tang de da da tang nopo orang ten ba so ni Tawe go Tawe we don't know Mago we
I think it's Makho. Yeah.
Makoe, Kangsa Gashik, Shumpe, Tapsu Shengo, Konar Kelan Pamato, Nampa, Kuntu Kape Chir.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, so we have the beauty, but also Yeshayim, the same scholar, with the transcription and the.
Oh, he did the Vrti also.
And we already have it input.
Let's check and make sure.
Can you send it to him?
There's 2, I have it, yeah, but if you could send it, you can to me.
Yeah.
2 you can check. Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
Sounds good. Send it to him, and I'd like a copy also.
Of the input one or the original one?
Both.
Both because of.
Yeah.
Gashikto. We have some time?
We're out of time. I mean, I could go, but we're out of time.
Let's stop there, because I don't know what it means anyway. But I won't admit it, okay? It's hard.
We'll never know.
Stopped here. 9:15, 19, okay. By the way, it gets more and more clear. There's hope for his book. I think we're past the hard part. The minute I say that, something
Except
bad
for this
comes.
paragraph.
Well, this paragraph is... Let's take the pieces of it, because we kind of cheated him out of some time when I was introducing Heather. So, do you guys mind a few minutes? Gashikto, in some places, okay? In some places. And I think he's talking about in some books. Datamshik lu yino. What's left at the end of the process, right? Because Chandrakirti talked about going on until the only thing left is an illusion. Some people say there is something left when you dig into an object, and you will find a word.
Right.
Okay, you will find a word. He says you don't find an illusion, you find a word. Okay, lu sumbe, datsam takpa. Just naming things with terms, just applying labels to things, is kunzo. That's what we mean by fake reality. It's like politicians call a failure a success or something. Okay, and if you dig, it's just, the only thing left is the word success. There's nothing successful about the thing at all. Okay, what do you call it? Put a spin on the... In English, we call it putting a spin on it. You have a failure and you make it fancy with good words. But when you strip away all the reality, there's just left is their word, which is wrong, okay? Takpatsam, it's nothing more than just names. That's what fake means. Kantiyang Makak, they have not refuted anything, okay? And they accept it.
They
Okay.
accept that it's just names and terms.
We don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure yet, okay? Then he goes on to Tsangde Tatak,
Yeah, purity,
yeah,
happiness, permanence.
yeah, the 4 ways that we all mistake the world. That it's pure, it's somehow it's bright and shining, it's happiness, it's gonna last, and it's coming from its own side, okay? Dang, Ngoporang Tsemba.
Things that exist from their own side. Working
It's almost that things that work of their own accord.
Oh, wow.
Okay, fire burns because that's the nature of fire. What would a Buddhist say, high Buddhist? If you had not hurt others in the past, you could put your hand in a fire and nothing would happen. Okay, it's not the nature of fire to burn. That's coming from you. Okay, that's coming from hurting people in the past. Okay. Okay. So Ngopo Rang Tsemba means like the belief that functioning things are Dundam Demba. We had it in your text. That's ultimate.
Functioning, right, they believe functioning. So he's criticizing
The quality to burn is part of fire and could never be divorced from it. Okay? Yeah. I'm going to give you pieces and let's try to get it together later. Tawe Makoa, on the level of viewpoint, worldview, they are misunderstanding, but you need to check the carving.
Okay.
Kazakashi Shupitapsu, I don't know. Some people, as a method of staying, entering. Shengo Konar Ken Lama Mato. Deception has to be defined with regard to differing opinions of the same object, like a snake and a rope. Okay. Mato. Namakuntakapechir. It is completely denied. How that ties together, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'll tell you the next piece. Sometimes when you can't get a piece, you go to the next piece. Okay? Yeah, good. Rang lugla kunzop tsang yekyang kunzop demba me doshena. somebody comes up and says, in the Rangluk, in our own system, you can say there's deception, but you cannot talk about deceptive reality. Okay? You can say the world is lying to you, but don't say reality is lying to you, because then it wouldn't be reality. Okay? The next guy who comes says, don't call it deceptive truth, don't call it deceptive reality, because if it's lying to you, it's not real on any level.
That's pretty cool.
It's not real on any level. But that means there's no husband in the kitchen. Not that the husband who doesn't come from you is not real. Okay, got it? All right. So I'm going to stop before that because we don't know what the last sentence means. Okay. Shibhuti Chushimeto Tahamri Rahishi Ninde Kembadi Sange Shindu Mite Huar Nidro Kunanda Shina Chupasho Irangulana Mandalaka Yatayami Dikeo Sana Yeshe Sozoshin Sana Yeshe Nechue Naba Kuni Topa
Thank you, Geshe.
For Heather's sake, what are you singing before and what are you singing after, and why do you do that? What's this thing?
This thing represents a perfect world. So we're getting teachings, and the idea is that the information that's contained in these books and in the teachings can save the world, change the world, and make the world into a beautiful, perfect place. So there's no price for that, so we can't pay for it, really. So the only thing we can do is offer the highest thing that we could possibly imagine, which is a perfected universe where everybody's totally happy. And this represents that, and there's certain cosmological meanings to each part of the gesture, like a central mountain and the continents that surround that mountain. It's all from the book that Stanley's translating. It was off to his quiz now. And then that's the first part, and then the second part of the prayer at the beginning of the class is making a commitment to that we're doing all of this so that we can perfect ourselves, and then also so that we can perfect ourselves because that's the best way that we'll be available to help others.
Okay, cool.
And then at the very end, we're taking all the good karma that we gathered together from doing this work together and then offering it to a higher goal, which would be that, to become a perfected type of person who can help all other people.
Nice. Yeah. To put it briefly, the price of the class is to commit yourself to helping this world be without pain. That's the price of a class. Then there's a whole nother equal classes going on downstairs, but this is just one, so you won't be able to see the other one today. Maybe you guys can peek in on it. Yeah, or there might be televised over here. I don't know.
Both.
I want her to understand why I ran away.